it is a very big night. This 12th of April, 1985. Leg warmers. Ronald Reagan. Not Dynasty yet, I don't think. Or is it? Knots Landing, I think, though. Knots Landing. It is a big night. Why? Because this is the culmination of culmination for the nation. It is the culmination of their TV title. Now, what you get with the TV title, and remember, it's been going on for some weeks. There have been some shenanigans, and I will explain this in a moment. But this is the culmination of several weeks of a competition which gives the winner not only the belt, which is, no, isn't a belt, not only the title of TV champion, but also $10,000 and a big-ass medal. Yeah, big-ass medal. And we've had some shenanigans, as I said, in that Butch Reed has not been very happy with Terence Taylor, the tailor-made man. Remember that? Didn't really work, did it? With Alexandra York. Yeah. Anyway, Terry Taylor is the fan favourite here, and he was faced in the semi-final with Butch Reed, and they finally had a semi-final. He pretended that he got a bad arm, Butch Reed, and then took the cast off and, I think if I remember rightly, fought him. Then they ran out of time, and they said, we're going to show you what happened next week. Then they said they were going to replay it, and finally, that's when he did the arm thing, if I remember rightly, and Terence Taylor came through. Or did Butch Reed forfeit the match? Something like that. So anyway, it's Terry Taylor versus the nefarious heel crusher Khrushchev. Now, do they give this to the American-born, all-American boy, Terry Taylor, or do they give it to the Russian? Well, it's Crusher Darso, isn't it? But he's aligned himself with those terrible Ruskies. I mean, this is the big angle at the moment. You know, those Russians, they want to come over to America. And Terry Taylor has, in the past, taken a can of spray paint and sprayed, in red, of course, USSR, I think, on Crusher Darso's back in the past. He has been with, or aligned himself with, Nikolai Volkov, and they've had some help from others, and including Butch Reed. More of that in a moment. Spoiler alert! Oh, too late. Anyway, that's where we are. So whether they will lean into their big angle, or whether they will give the title to the wonderful babyface. And bear in mind, you've also got Magnum TA as a big all-American boy babyface here. So, not quite sure that Terry will get what he wants here. However, let us have a look at what's going to happen here. Look at that. I lost control there for a minute. Just lost control. I'm looking at my notes. I'm going to make sure that I have everything I got here, because we start with that title after we're told by Boyd Pierce this is going to be one of the greatest cards of all time. All right, Boyd, blimey. Very florid there, wasn't he? He made a really big claim, and fair enough. And we've been seeing, as you know, and I've been speaking about this for some weeks, we've been seeing the brackets of the tournament, and usually you'd have them, I don't know, on a screen, or even, as I've said before, on a piece of fuzzy felt with some names on it or whatever, but not here. Generally, it is a piece of white cardboard with black felt tip, pen written on it. Now, because it's close up, you don't get to see the size of it. This week you did. It was actually A4 size. It's not even A3. It's not even a big sign, it's A4 size. And we start with that main event. However, after Crusher Darso, and also after this is just, I mean, it's so set up. You've got a fan giving Terence Taylor before he gets in the ring. Crusher Darso, Crusher Khrushchev is already in the ring, or Crusher Darso Khrushchev. He'll be called by Jim Ross later on. Terry Taylor is given some flowers. Now that's fine. They've come from a fan, but the fan tells Terry Taylor, they've not just come from a fan, they've come from a little crippled girl. You didn't really need to say that, did you? It's a scripted thing, isn't it? I don't know why I think that, but it is a scripted thing. Out comes Butch Reed, the natural, before Terry Taylor can be announced, to say, it should be me. It should be me. He then leaves, comes back and destroys the box of flowers. It's very naughty, isn't it? Then grabs Terry Taylor, and pile drives him onto the concrete floor. We go to a break, and we don't know if Terry Taylor will come back. Of course he will, folks. He's your all-American baby face. He's got a soft collar on, and he wants to fight Crusher Darso Khrushchev. He hits him with a slam first and obviously feels his neck. You're getting a lot of this. Oh, it's smart. Oh, my neck's smart. And Khrushchev's obviously thinking, well, if you've hurt your neck, then probably I need to do some work around that. So, apparently, Terry Taylor is out to win it for the people. So he's not one of those nasty Ruskies. He's not a pinko commie and all of that. You see, this is during the time of the Cold War, isn't it? It's 84 in the Cold War. It is the time of Reagan. All of that. So you get some Terry Taylor shots, but Crusher whips him into the buckles, gets a neck crank, drops him neck first onto the top rope, hits a pile driver that hurts the neck, pins him. His feet are clearly under the ropes. Right, that shouldn't have been a pin. It shouldn't have his feet are under the ropes, folks. Couldn't even have, Crusher Darso Khrushchev, double-barreled, didn't even understand that he needs to get his feet away. And he gets the $10,000, and out come Nikolai Volkov and Butch Reed, because of course he's helped him. Yes, he has. Maybe he's got a cut of the money, I don't know, for the ceremony with a big-ass medal. Now, Bill Watts is then in front of a wood wall. It's nicely done. It's a nicely appointed wood wall. And he said he wanted one more time after the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette attacked him. And he's got a scar above his eye. Keeps mentioning the scar. Can't see it. It's only a small scar. Tiny scar. And a tiny score. And he did do this at the last Stampede. And it was the greatest fight of his life. The implication being that he and I think it's Stagger Lee. Last week he asked Stagger Lee if he'd come with him. Clearly Junkyard Dog, wearing more or less the same clothes, they go and see Junkyard Dog, and they come back a bit later. Junkyard Dog says, I can't do it. I can't, I'm banned from the territory for 90 days. But maybe my friend Stagger Lee could do it. So back comes Jim Ross to the same place with someone wearing the same clothes and a mask and with the same voice. It probably is Stagger Lee. It just sounds exactly and dresses exactly like Junkyard Dog. Stagger Lee rhymes with JYD. Now, we see highlights. Well, we're supposed to see highlights from this match. And it's the wrong match. It's the Rock and Roll Express. And we go back and JR, Jim Ross tells us, well, the tapes must have been switched. We're sorry about that. Next, we've got Josh Stroud and Tony Torres versus the Midnight Express. And the first thing that Cornette does is ask Bobby Eaton to hold the tape. He's got the tape of this special last Stampede. He's got Bobby Eaton to pull the tape out and he is cutting it with scissors. It's a great move. Now, part of me thinks there should be another tape. There will be another tape, won't they? They will have made a copy, so I'm not quite sure. But it's a ceremonial thing, isn't it? You're never going to see this match in which it seems that his team, the Midnight Express, marvellous team that they were a bit humbled. So, in this match, we've got a Torres dropkick. he has the temerity to do that early on. So Eaton hits him with a back suplex. The Midnight Express working very well together. As an Eaton power slam, he then throws him into his own corner to tag with Josh Stroud, who suffers, well, it looked like a Dennis Condrey brainbuster, only JR was right in that it was a sort of side pile driver because he didn't really get the jackhammer to it, so it looked like a modified pile driver. Very nasty. Didn't took the head. Looked great. Eaton just smacked him with a big punch, and then they get that heart attack move. So Condrey's holding him off the ropes from Bobby Eaton. He has to, unfortunately, because he's being held too high, he has to jump about 2 feet in the air to get the clothesline in. Didn't look good, but the team looked great together. Right. Now, you know that Mr. Wrestling and Magnum TA have had a bit of shenanigans. And Magnum, Mr. Wrestling, too, he now wants to be called just Mr. Wrestling, has won the title. They were tag team champions. He was the mentor for Magnum TA. It was, of course, very popular in Mid-South. And probably one of the reasons why Terry Taylor didn't win the TV title, because he's quite similar to Magnum TA, really. They've had a problem and they've split. I think, yeah, I do know, actually, because I saw it. Magnum TA had the number one contendership when JYD was the champ. Mr. Wrestling 2 got very angry, started slapping him, and Magnum TA wouldn't fight back because you're my mentor. Then Mr. Wrestling 2 used it to get a shot at the title and won the title, and JYD can't come back. But there is a bloke who sounds just like him. He's called Stagger Lee. Anyway, he's fighting. Only he isn't. He isn't. By the way, we see the match, Magnum versus Mr. Wrestling 2. There is a big ref bump. Mr. Wrestling gets the knee lift with his assisted. He puts something on his knee. It's not Voltarol or a gel to help him. It's like looks like an iron plate or a metal plate. So Magnum gets the drop kick, gets the object and puts it on his own knee, smacks Mr. Wrestling 2, but Mr. Wrestling 2 rolls out, and someone else who looks nothing like him. He's taller, he's finely muscled, he's a big dude, big muscles. Mr. Wrestling 2 is not like that. This other guy, who now is called Mr. Wrestling 2, because Mr. Wrestling 2 wants to be called Mr. Wrestling. Are you keeping up? I hope so. Gets gets Magnum TA in a torture rack, which is called by Jim Ross an upside down backbreaker. I think torture rack sounds better. But Lex Luger hadn't done it very much before then, I think the sobriquet torture rack was only used for when Lex did it. Anyway, the champ wins, and it looked like Mr. Wrestling 2, the younger one, was the one who got the pin. But then Mr. Wrestling 1, actually just Mr. Wrestling, the champion, then comes back into the ring, and the ref, who is just waking up really, grabs his arm and says, "You are the winner. Yes, I clearly saw it was you who got the pin. You look like you had a lot bigger muscles, and you look like you were about 2 foot taller when you did the pin. However, it might have just been me coming round." So, yes, there you go. Now, Magnum TA will be fighting Dale Vesey. And you've got Magnum. Oh, Vesey gets into him early on, but Magnum hits a slam, a belly to belly. And he's been, over the past few weeks, been getting really quick pins. It's a very quick night for him. I think it only lasted about 2 minutes. And it ended so quickly that we've now got, according to Boyd Pierce, standby matches. One of which is the champion versus Joe Savoldi. Right, just a minute. You've got a heavyweight champion. They've been saying throughout it's the most prestigious belt in wrestling. And your champion is a standby match. So if Magnum TA had gone a bit longer, you wouldn't have shown this match, even though your champion with the most prestigious belt in wrestling is standing by. I don't really follow. Never mind, it's wrestling. And often that doesn't make sense. He'll be facing Joe Savoldi. Now, he wants to be introduced as just Mr. Wrestling. And he introduces his mate, who he said is my new protege and is loyal to me, and he will wrestle Joe Savoldi because Mr. Wrestling 2 was contracted to do it, and he's not called Mr. Wrestling 2 anymore. This new bloke is. I'm a bit confused because you might have signed a contract that said you do it, but I suppose technically you're not called Mr. Wrestling 2 anymore. You're called Mr. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, yes, Joe Savoldi isn't doing all that well, really. It's a bait and switch, basically, this, but Mr. Wrestling 2 gets a suplex, some stomps, a vertical suplex, which is nice, then an armbar, which is well sold by Joe Savoldi. Then he works on the arm, gets a knee to it, and a backbreaker, which is nicely executed, and then the upside down backbreaker, the torture rack, and out comes Magnum TA to attack Mr. Wrestling 2. Now, Magnum, you really should think maybe I'll waffle him with a tire iron, as Bobby Heenan would have said, in the parking lot because he's on his own and he won't. No, I won't run out to the ring when there are two people in there who have bad intentions against me. So, very quickly, he is overmanned. And who comes out? JYD. No, Stagger Lee. Yeah, he looks, I mean, he's got a mask on, but he doesn't half move like JYD. He looks a bit like JYD, bodily, but he probably isn't. Maybe it's his brother. And JR, that's it, really. That's all we've got. And JR tells us a lot of great things are going to happen next week. Well, I hope so, because they didn't happen this week. You've really got the TV title that they've talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's a coronation, and most people are a bit cheesed off because it's the Russians that win. So they're not really delighted. You've made Terry Taylor look a little bit like, not like a fool, but you've really played him badly here. And then you've got Magnum TA with a very quick match and a little bit of Bill Watts, because he has to be on, doesn't he? And it's his promotion after all. And then you've got some kerfuffle around. I don't want to be called Mr. Wrestling 2, and I'm called Mr. Wrestling now. And it's a standby match. It wasn't great, fellas. Follocks. It wasn't great. But next week, maybe that will be. And even when it's not great, I still love it, because you know what? I'm addicted to wrestling. Doctor. Ta-ta.